Yeah. Ooh. Hey, hey.
Supposed to see.
Anybody see lighter?
He's just here.
Oh, my belly. My big belly. Belly season. It's open belly season. Oh,
Oh,
somebody?
it must be Carrie. Hey, the chair for him. Where is the other chair? Just that one?
Love somebody. I'm somebody. With I love you. We have a necklace. Boxes around.
Be next door, maybe? No?
Huh?
You should take a look, maybe, because a while ago I thought there was somebody here and it's next door. It's like it's.
Said to come, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know if he was physically coming here
Huh?
or or.
Oh, it's Celine.
Oh, Zelensky.
How come Celine's here?
Monica Zelensky.
What, he sings with you tomorrow? Does the ceremony close? Why you didn't go? No, I never know.
Okay, on the gadi bahi ka joke was one on see us nyardi. Gazit Asrio, you just go in Uji on Dudget Square in the Star, Rona Roni. Retino Rado, Gurunga Garia Gessium, yet the Sota us a tonka Garaqua, yet in the Stadi Hunzagi, down a Guigus Scott, Neganungwe. Retino Rado. So here then, it Kundun Hats that was Guides and E, Ganyat de Gerdo, than a Quego or Quadsre, Ununco Suma. Woo! Retino Rado. Woo! Yeti sota gunhan do na da hetstone gani guri or daddy hawakwe. Dam da we are on hetsera gazet stansera ne ganungo. Dam da we are on hetsera gazet stansera ne asat ni got dardik ne ganyanga hager radinyato or nata runi da riska de wage. Dan dam da we adon hetsera. No adon gatsera. A gwego on a go to Guyana da sera go in Escana or the wheel. Gari what gori shunsera da gazet stansera. Dam dawe aron hetsera gayanda wana ne gani gurio. Okay, so as you know, every time that we get together for a council meeting, ceremony, anything of importance, we always have to carry out a Gadi Wadeko first. This is the words that come before all else. It's where we identify and give thanks to the things within creation that have created us and the things that we need to continue to sustain us. And so we always begin by giving our thanks to the great spiral of creation. And when you look up into the nighttime sky, you're not looking into cold, dark, empty, lifeless space the way that non-native science would lead you to believe. No, instead you are looking into the living, vibrant body of our great mother. And so we give thanks to her, to Sky Woman, as it is she who has given us spirit. From there, we give our thanks to the beating heart of our Mother Earth, to Grandma Moon, as she who regulates the flow of the lifeblood in all things. And so we give thanks to her, to Grandma Moon, as it is she who has given us blood. From there, we give our thanks to our Mother Earth, regardless of what color you are, what language you speak, where you've grown up from Mother Earth, or what you imagine divides us. We all come from the same mother, making us all one family, sisters, brothers, all relations all together. And so we give thanks to her, Mother Earth, as it is she that has given us body. From there, we give our thanks to all the women, from the newest born baby girl to the oldest grandmother, as you carry the sacred title of life giver into the world and are to be honored and respected as such. We give thanks to them for in this world, they give us purpose and direction. From there, well, I want to expand on that, but I'm going to save it until afterwards. So From there, we give our thanks to the spirit that connects all things all together, from the furthest reaching roots of the trees, extracting the energy deep from within our Mother Earth, to everything up near the roots and the medicines near the surface, all the animal life upon Mother Earth, into the bugs and insect life, the birds, the microbial life forms that fill the atmosphere from the surface of the earth to the furthest reaches of our Mother Earth's atmosphere. It's all microbial life forms. It is water. It is, imagine, just like you, a baby, a fetus being formed in the womb of a mother, in the amniotic sac, in that water that is forming that baby, everything that is within there. Everything is microbial, and everything is a life form that is adding to the medicine growing of that baby. And so it's the same as to what we are breathing in all the time. Microbial life forms that you are breathing in is the same as a baby breathing in the amniotic fluid. So it is all life. It is all what gives us life. It is all what is the source of life. From there, we give our thanks to, let's see, all the waters and all the medicines and all the shapes and forms they come in. And this is to remind ourselves that you are made of 100% water, so you are medicine to your loved ones, to your grandparents, to your parents, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. And so if you are not aware of your medicine and not applying it properly, then somebody, something else is co-opting your medicine and misusing it. From there, we give our thanks to our ancestors that carried a good mind, and we ask them to help us to return our mothers back to their natural seat of authority within all of our nations, so they can manage all of our people properly once again. This not only for the Ganyagahaga, but for all peoples of the earth, all nations, all must return back to the original instruction to get out of this craziness, this insanity of male dominance, this nonstop cyclical retardedness of war. For thousands of years in the non-native world, this is all, it seems like they're happy with, it's their purpose to just keep killing and killing and killing. How could you love within that? Of course, it becomes relative to your circumstances and your conditions. But when you compare love to, say, its rawest and truest form, and then you look at, well, what you are within the male dominant corrupted society waging war all the time, well, of course, it's you're in like the humans are an abomination. And so the necessity for all nations to return our mothers to their seat of authority. This is for all nations. It's there for everybody. It's necessary for the entire planet. From there, we ask our ancestors to help us to return the true spirit of the three universal clans of the Ganyagahaga, of the turtle, wolf, and bear, what the non-native world knows as protons, neutrons, and electrons. From there, we ask our ancestors to carry the good mind, help us to return the true knowledge of every wampum within the great law of peace back to the hearts and minds of the people, to return peace, power, and righteousness to the balanced mind leading to the good mind. And if there's anything left out, then of course that's for you to put it in its proper place wherever it needs to go. And Celine is here, so we'll say a big hello to Celine. Howdy doody. How the hell are you?
Yeah, great. How about you?
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, so what I wanted to expand on here is something that for myself, every morning when I wake up, carry out my Honda Gutty with Dekwa, it gives me a different like there's a different reading or something each day, you know, like it's a different energy or a different power. And so today, what I want to identify and address, maybe not even to like pinpoint a specific, it's a generality, but it is, I guess, a specific. What I want to point out is the The power of the life givers, the beauty of the life givers in of how they provide, how they give, how they direct. And the first thing that came to my mind this morning is how we are fed. And not necessarily just to say food, how we are fed, how we are nourished spiritually, how we are challenged. When I say we, males, of course, because I'm talking about the life givers, how we are challenged to be pushed to our best that we could be, or depending on the life givers that you're around, maybe to the worst that you could be, but to identify the power of the life givers to initiate whatever it is that the guys are actually experiencing. So we think about this. Well, a non-native world, male dominance. It's not the women that have created that, but the men are at nonstop war. It's not to say that the women have created this in the men, and that it's the responsibility of the women to stop it. But it is the responsibility of the women to stop it. And it is not that it's come from the women, but that it is obviously a misinterpreted or a wrong translation of the messages. The signals got mixed up, the wires got crossed, and maybe it said happiness and sunshine, but instead it's cloudy and rainy, that kind of thing. So, but to identify the food, the nourishment. I thought of this morning of, not that I can remember this, but what everybody knows, that the instance that you're brought into this world, we're all nourished. Every living thing on the planet is all nourished by its mother. The mother nourishes it right away. In some instances, yeah, okay, there's a father that's doing a certain whatever, but it's not the like the status quo, like the norm is that it is the mother in pretty much every condition. So to think of that into a time, or to think back to a time before we can remember, before we're even able to stand on our own 2 feet, like when you think of a gazelle born on Serengeti or something, that gazelle, it drops to the ground and it's born running. It's got to stand on its legs right away, and it's got to run right away. It's got to be conscious right away to see a tiger coming, like run away, like it's programmed to do that, but it's got to be conscious like instantly to be able for it to keep itself alive. Humans, not like that. So we think back to that time of when we're first born into the world, that of course we're like just like a jello, or we're just like a one-celled amoeba with arms and legs and all kind of stuff. But just like a one-celled amoeba that just is a blob just there. And to think of how delicate that is, that experience of that stage of life, that without the mother, of course, wouldn't be born in the first place, but then without the mother to feed you, then you wouldn't even survive. You'd be like a flash in the pan, and you disappear as soon as you were born into the world without the mother being there to continue to feed you. So this is what I thought of this morning on that level. It's not like your mother on Sunday makes you cornbread and steak, and you're fully aware and you're a grown man or teenager or a little boy. It's much different than when the baby is being fed of the mother itself. And so you think of that, how precious that experience is, how delicate life is, that the mother, of course, needs the safety, the protection to be able to get through a pregnancy, and then to give birth, and then to be able to feed and to nurture. It all needs to be perfect conditions. It needs to be safe. Everybody needs to be protected, no, not even any kind of like emotional stress or drama or anything like that, not even any of that. So we think of the process that our mothers have created right from the beginning of time, from Sky Woman herself, that such a beautiful process, such a delicate process, such a strong process, such a just something to acknowledge and to give thanks for, to say tonight for myself, to keep in my mind, because of where we are with the harvest also, is to give thanks for the life givers in all of the food that they do, in all of the nourishing that they do, all of the nourishing, whether it's real food or if it's inspiration or if it's just direction. You know, sometimes a guy needs a good slap upside the head and a woman to say, hey, what's wrong with you? Do this, get your ass moving on that, you know. Yeah, okay. Sometimes this is what a guy needs. And otherwise, it's just the pure love of the mother that she just loves right from the start. And the baby is communicated to through that love. And then the baby communicates back with love. But when you think of what happens when the mother's love is broken and the babies are intervened upon, their human experiences intervene to disrupt, to distort it, to turn it into a male dominant corruption of something like the British church Nazis concentration camps on native children that they called residential schools. See, something like that, for that to be created, you think of what happens in the minds then of all those children, whether they're boys or girls. The girls too, the life givers, then end up experiencing that trauma with their eggs inside of them. That trauma is translated into their eggs. And so when we think of that, how things are recycled and nourished off of each other, you know, we think of a mother then is, in all of her experiences, is feeding those eggs what supposed to be love, happiness, good experiences, all of that, you know. So it's encoded into the eggs generation after generation after generation, that it becomes so strong, like second nature, like a baby gazelle being born and standing on its legs right away and being able to be conscious to see a tiger run the other way, to be able to know that instantly. This comes from the nourishment of the mothers, of what is being placed in their eggs while they're in the womb of their mother. And of course, all the experiences here in the world then are overlapped over that. So what we see here, and through the British church Nazi concentration camps on native children, is that it's an attack in a multi-dimensional level. It's an attack on, of course, first the children, which only white people would do that. Only white man would do that. Only religious people would do that. Matter of fact, they're the only ones who have done it. And so the attack upon the original peoples here is a multi-dimensional thing, because it attacks the young girls when their eggs are being formed in a most delicate time, where when you're as a child, you're supposed to be having these good, happy experiences. It's supposed to be all love, grandma, you know, aunties, all of that around you, raising you in a good, happy conditions. But instead, the British church Nazis upended the native children's experience and traumatized, terrorized. And that went into the eggs of all the young girls that were in the so-called, in the concentration camps on native children, which they call residential schools. So this was like a time bomb planted within the people that you couldn't see, because here's the little girls that were traumatized in the schools. Their eggs are absorbing that. They're absorbing the trauma. And then maybe 10 years later, they're released from the concentration camps, and then maybe at a young age or whatever age they have children. Of course, the trauma of those concentration camps burned into their eggs. And the next generation, without even actually having be physically exposed to it, are adjusted by it. So there is an example of how the woman's experience is nourishment from the time that they're children. That, like we say all the time, that little baby girl is a mother. She's a mother because of the experience that she's having. Happy, supposed to be good and happy, burning into the eggs. The eggs then can create a good, happy person, good, happy being. So that is nourishment. And that is a natural nourishment within the life givers that keeps them fed, rejuvenating themselves generation after generation, which then enables them to give birth to the males, to bring us into the picture, then to give the diversity to Sky Woman's dream, to bring the balance there, to be, for the guys to be the hands of Yunki Dizu, to create that beautiful world, to create that world free of trauma, to create that world where the babies would be nurtured in the proper way, all of this. So this is what I see today is life giver nourishment. It's a woman's nourishment of life. It's how women take care of the guys. Even if it's not your husband, your boyfriend, or it's just your family, it's your brother, it's your nephew, your cousin, or just your friend, that the guys in this world are not acknowledging properly the sacredness of this experience and how the life giver truly gives the balance to us, nourishes us. So just to acknowledge this and to give thanks to this. And I was thinking this also today when Gazita Howie and Curry were here. And whenever I see her, I always ask her, how's the baby? And she tells me that the baby's like this. But when I say that, I think of an actual baby inside of a mother, and what the baby is experiencing, the transmitted from the mother. You know, the happiness, the goodness, the love, like as if you're waiting in line at an amusement park for your favorite ride, the biggest roller coaster, and you're just waiting there to get on it. That's what it would be like to be carried in the womb of a mother, because you know you're in the greatest ride ever. You're in the greatest experience ever. We have the ultimate experience in the entire waterverse. Now, maybe we're going to find out that there's some kind of other life form that maybe we'll view it as looking even more beautiful than us. Or maybe if it looks different, we'll just look at it as being ugly. But regardless of whatever the life forms are out there, whatever shape or form they come in, that the life form, the consciousness that we are at is truly the greatest experience throughout all creation. So it's to know that if you're in the big toe, if you're a molecule in the big toe of a gorilla, then you are having the ultimate experience as just being alive. Now, if you're a molecule in the brain of a human, you're having the ultimate experience. The thing is that no matter who and what we are, what we look like, wherever we are throughout the waterverse, we are having the ultimate experience because we are a part of Sky Woman's dream. We would not exist without that dream, without Sky Woman, the source of all creation, all life, being at our root, being at our foundation. And so to give thanks to that, because we know that the first one gives of herself to feed the next one, and so on and so on and so on. So it truly is in my mind today, a celebration of the life giver's nourishment of, in all ways, of creation, not just of males, but of all creation. So you just think, what is that nourishment in all ways? What does she do? She inspires us to, I don't know, go out and catch a moose. Like you see that those videos on social media. There's a young girl and she's going like this, hey, come on, get up and go and catch a moose, you know, like so inspiration like that, inspiration, direction. Sometimes get off your ass and go and do this damn thing, you know, that kind of thing. Or just inspiration out of without being told, just by acknowledging the beauty, the purpose, the drive, the meaning of the life givers, and just that alone would be an inspiration to male. Because as everybody hears the Honda Gutty with Dekwa that we do all the time, I know that from my lifetime spent, just my whole lifetime spent, that I've never heard anybody else do the Honda Gutty with Dekwa the way that we do, identifying Sky Woman, Grandma Moon, Mother Earth, the women, you know, identifying the actual like scientific process of how we come into being. And it is the way that I do it. It is centered and around the life giver. It's in celebration of the life giver, because that's been my life. This is the life that my mother has shown me. This is what my mother has exposed me to. And so I just give thanks for everything that my mother has nourished me on, got me into this world, onto this path of understanding or how to flow in that female vein. And then from there, all the life givers throughout time that have nourished me in this path that I'm on. Nourished me through whatever, not doesn't have to be a girlfriend or whatever. Say, like, for instance, all of yous, well, some of yous know of the Corey cleanup. We've been doing this now
30.
30 years. 30 years. And the inspiration to that was from Katie McCumber. I was walking my dogs one day in the back of the quarry, and it was dirty. There was pollution everywhere, garbage everywhere, because everything blew to the back, you know. If you've ever been here, you know what I'm talking about. So the wind, prevailing winds used to blow that way towards the back of the quarry, and there'd be all kind of garbage all over the place, in the grass, on the trees, everywhere. And I just happened to pass by. Katie was there on her motorcycle, and she's swimming, and says to her, I know her all my life, relatives, so, hey, a lot of garbage here. And she says, yeah. She says to me, somebody should clean it up. And I says, yeah, right, like who? And she says, you. You know, that native, the way they point you, with pointing with the lips, you should do it. So there was an inspiration that I got from the life giver, Katie McCumber, telling me to clean up the quarry. And for me, every time in my life, every time a woman or a life giver tells me to do something, if it's logic, it makes sense and it's right and proper, you know, I got to deduce also. I'm not just going to follow blindly. And if it is, then I always do it. It doesn't really matter on what scale that they're telling me. Maybe it's a private thing, or if it's something of the nation. They say to do it, I do it. I set out to get it done. So this is my personal journey of appreciation, of giving, to give thanks for the nourishment that the life givers have given, that Mother Earth has given, that Grandma Moon has given, that Sky Woman has given, that all the women here, in just the cooking, in the happy look or the sad look of disapproval or approval. These things are what molds and which guides and shapes and forms the living experience. So I just think of what kind of living experience would I have if without any life givers, without no life givers in the different nourishment that they give without even having to think about it. It's just something that is emitted from them. So it wouldn't be a very good life experience without, so I acknowledge today because for some reason, this is the energy of the day that I'm in, that I've been picking up on all day, and this is what's been on my mind. Yeah, so Nyawagoa to all the cooks, Nyawagoa to all the women who cook, who have given of themselves, given to their children, of themselves to feed their children. Nyawagoa to all the mothers who have done this. Nyawagoa to all the women who have given of themselves to take care of and feed other people's children, to make children happy. Sit there and sing a song, clap their hands with a baby like the way that a guy won't, you know, like only a woman could do it that way. So Nyawa go on an acknowledgement of all of that that the life givers do. Yeah. Okay, and so get that out of the way. There was a meeting last night. Okay, so a meeting last night, just to build up to it, that over the past couple of years, this is how all of this is transformed, come into being. Over the last couple of years, Gazita Howie and Curry Daibo have a lot of concerns for their family, their friends around them, the drinking water, the land, the air, the soil, and everything that they, just by being alive, can detect, you know, in their environment. Like you, if you happen to see, I don't know, on piece of steel or something, start to see rust form. If you started to see oil or something in a place like floating on water, you know, like swampage or wetland or something. If you start to see these things, you can detect them. You can detect if they weren't there before, then you start to see them, then they become visible, they stick out. So it's not that Gazita Howie and Curry needed to be scientists to discover these things. It's just that they had to be alive and paying attention out of the love and concern for their children, their friends, their family, the land itself. And as a result of this, they've uncovered a lot of corruption here in Ganawagi, a lot of ban system compliance with basically non-native plans of systemic racial genocide upon us to wipe us out, to destroy our lands, to destroy our people. And this is what the ban system is doing being in compliance with the pollution, the polluting of Ganawagi. And what just recently, through their research and everything over the last couple of years, just recently some information has come to them through them applying to the Access to Information Act, that they got some information about Ganawagi that the ban system has been denying. The ban system has lied, outright lied, right up until the point of, if you've been with us, everybody's seen this meeting from last week, the town meeting here in Ganawagi, the ban meeting, that right up until that meeting, that night, that the ban system lied outright to the people, to Curry, when Curry got up, stand up and just to identify that through the Access to Information, he got the contract that the ban system actually signed. But yet that night, the ban system people stood up and said to Curry, "You're a liar." Two of them, even Curry's nephew said to Curry, "You're a liar." But Curry had the information. He's got the actual contract from the Access to Information where their signatures are on it, but publicly to the people of Ganawagi, they lie, outright lie. So what's the purpose of that? Just think of that. Why would anybody lie on any level? But then why would an elected official lie? Well, an elected official would lie only to cover up something. Otherwise, why would you lie? You know, what are you gonna just make up a lie? I jumped off the Empire State Building and survived. How would anybody just come up with a lie? In order to lie about anything, it's got to be rooted in some degree of truth, because you got to see something familiar with the story in order to buy the lie, to believe the lie. And so, anyways, last week, everybody seen the meeting that exploded, the ban system, lying to the people, a couple of a bunch of issues coming to a head all at once. Those of you who have been with us know, anyways, it added up to, culminated to this meeting last night where people in the community are seeing the outright lies and corruption of the ban system and seeing that the lands have to be protected from the ban system. That Ganawage Rona has to protect Ganawage from the ban system, because the ban system is subjecting the lands, thinking that they have the power of authority, subjecting the lands to industrialization, to pollution, to taxation. That the ban system is accepting all kind of policies coming down the pipe from the government, from private corporations, just because somebody says, hey, I want to do this, I want a permit. So the ban system issues a permit for a plastic processing factory right here in Ganawagi, where, wait a minute, is that what the people of Ganawagi want? Is that what the people of Ganawagi said to do? When they were mixed up enough to vote in the ban system to bring these people in? Is that what they wanted? No, because as a matter of fact, at this town meeting, that everybody present actually said to the ban system to reverse the deal that they had already signed and made about the expansion of the 207. Everybody said, no, stop it, reverse it, rescind it. Only the ban system people, only 12 of them said, no, they can't. Wait a minute. The people that they're supposed to represent are saying, don't do this. And they're saying they can't. It's too late to reverse it. Hey, wait a minute. Why did those fools do that in the first place? They didn't ask the people. They didn't get the directive from the people. As a matter of fact, the directive of anything to do with the 207 being widened or to accommodate non-native traffic, everybody in Ganawagi is against it. So why would the ban system negotiate that in the first place? Corruption, of course, we all know this. Okay, so anyways, this meeting takes place last night. Everybody comes together, different factions, fractals of Ganawagi. You know, people that you wouldn't see, we would not be sitting together, the people who were there last night. But the people who were there were able to come together despite the fact that in the past, we may have all been at each other's throats. We all may hate each other, be against each other. I don't know. But we all came together there in a very respectful way. We were all able to have a very good meeting where anybody who was so inclined had their voice, able to speak to the end of whatever their point was without anybody cutting in or stopping them. There was comprehension of everything, because there was none of this fighting or bickering or you sit down and, or you only got 1 minute to say this or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So it was a very good coming together for when you consider the first time that these people, including myself, the people who were present, to come together for the first time and to be able to address each other the way that we did. It was amazing. If you would have been there, you would have thought, how the hell come this one isn't at that one's throat? How come that one isn't fighting with that one, you know? How come they're sitting there with this one? You know, if you would have been there knowing the way that Ganawagi is, you would have thought that something strange was happening. Something strange was happening, because different people from different dynamics of Ganawagi came together to address a common issue, a common concern, and we took action. It was proactive, it was focused, it was fair to everyone. It was the way that a meeting is supposed to take place. And it concluded the way that a meeting is supposed to conclude, with something solid, with something workable, with something that the people can know what the plan is, and what their role is within the plan. So, okay, anyways, this is what took place last night. Okay, so Curry is here. Anything you want to say on that? I don't know. What do you think? Should we show the document first, or you want to give your take on it? Yeah, give your take on it, and then we'll go into the document.
Tego Guego, the Herald of Judith. Yeah, it was nice to see. It was a totally different atmosphere that that you unfortunately you're exposed to at band meetings, and yeah, there was different elements from the community, if you want to say, different ways, people that think different came to one mind, and to me that's what the process is going to go, and different minds coming together for the better of the nation, community, children. Um, Gave me a good feeling. It restored my faith in our people. Not everybody's corrupt. Not everybody's garbage. Like we have to deal with, like with those the dirty dozen. It's
Myself, when I walked in there last night, or even just heading to there, like anybody knows who I am and knows the community, and knows my position within the community. Going to any meeting, it's always well, it's few and far in between in the first place. The only meetings I've gone to in anything in Ganawagi in the past 30 years has only been in the last couple of years with the Ganyangahaga Land Defenders. And so whenever I go to something like a function, like something like that, it's always with reservations, it's always preconceived notions as to what we're going to experience. And so it was like any other time, I was going with preconceived notions, and those preconceived notions were not applicable. Even just knowing the people who were there, that we wouldn't be sitting together, that just the sentiment, just the look on each other's faces was different, to the point of like where it's like the discussion between us was like massaging our brains, massaging the roughness out of us. That when each person spoke, I seen familiarity in the words that were being spoken, the way that the people were speaking. I was seeing what you would expect from Ganyangahaga, not what you would expect from like Ganawagi going to a band meeting or something, or that type of stuff. So last night I experienced what you would expect, like I said, of Ganyangahaga. So I was happy too to have a different experience other than my historical experiences that I've had with meetings in Ganawagi. So it was very good on that level, like to see these different ages of people, from young to old. I couldn't believe it that there was young girls in there, and all the way up to old men, and at all different ages. Everybody talking like straightforward to each other, like as if there's no age barrier or there's no female male barrier type of thing. It was it was like the way it was supposed to be last night. So it was a really good experience on that level. And yeah, like what you said, it restored faith in Ganawagi. I've said many times, and Curry, you probably last week, didn't I say this to you? That like Ganawagi's past the point of no return now. And I was just seeing it like as if, well, there's nothing that Ganawagi could do now.
It was
What
like
is-
it was the end of the road for us.
But this is
Well,
the thing.
maybe it was the end of the road for us, but it's come to another fork. Which way we're gonna go? Are we gonna go left or are we gonna go right?
Yeah,
So, but it was a good feeling, very positive feeling. I was positively charged. You know, it was a nice thing to see.
there was what was really evident is that there was no picking, you know, like nobody like testing each other, like even like say like any old uh like grievances or perceptions coming up, like anybody to say like, oh, who are you type of thing or something, you know. That all the communications were really respectful, and the fact is that all of us really made the effort to do that. I'm one of the ones who I have this long-standing history knowledge of going back 50 years here in Ganawagi, you know. So with some of the people that were present, we could have just went at each other, you know, and started fighting. But no, we all consciously made an effort to be on the best behavior, be considerate of each other. And that was really something to see last night. I won't say who or whatever, but there was two guys, and one was like kind of a little bit of like not really belittling, but oh, come on, take it easy, you, that type of thing, you know. And the other one, like he was getting a little bit like, who are you type of thing. But I watched the both of them curtail that within them. So everybody made a conscious effort there last night to be civil, to be yeah, just to be good to each other. That, how often do you see that in Ganawagi? In a meeting where there's all different people from different factions. You know, it's not you don't see that too often. So anyways, the purpose of the meeting there last night was to really to address a couple of issues, two main issues, but what actually brings along the issue of what Gazita Howie and Kirby have been bringing up over the past 2 years, but being addressed through these two land issues, what is confronting Ellen Fishibova and Jason Daibo. Two different land locations, basically two different ends of the reserve, kind of, you know. One's right on the edge of the reserve of the Seaway, and one's right at the edge of the reserve with St. Isidore. So two different ends of the reserve, and basically the same land issue, basically being harassed by the band system, because the band system they're thinking too big for their britches, like as if they're the parents of Ganawagi or something, like as if they're the mother and father knows best, and the kids are the people of Ganawagi are their kids or something. This is the way that the band system conducts themselves, like as if they know. What could they possibly know? What could any elected official possibly know? Except what the people who vote for them tell them, direct them. And so what we can see that, well, within the band system, then you can see what's their impetus, you know, like it's corruption. You can just imagine, well, what are the people who participate with them? They're corruption too. So last night we seen the opposite of this. It just developed naturally within the people there. Not even anybody like having to I don't know, like take control, or like it just happened naturally with the people. So very good very good experience on that level, like to say that if we would think that if Ganawagi came together right now, we might say, no, we'll all just be fighting, we'll be at each other's throats. No way. Last night is the proof of that. That Ganawagi Rono can get over that divisionary atmosphere. This brings me back to something that occurred back in 1991. We were talking about this at some point last night or in the last couple of days. Joe Norton had signed, the previous mayor, Joe Norton, had signed a policing agreement. And if anybody remembers this, there was, whoever it was that came from Quebec came in a limousine and came to the band system office, and people found out about it, and the mayor was actually saying, no, they're not going to sign it. But then people found out that they actually signed it. You know, he's a liar, like every mayor is a liar. So at that time, it was on the news, everybody seen this Ziga, Stacy, she was kicking the door of the limousine. Get out of here, you know, everybody was against the agreements that the band system was making. Anyways, they came to a point of where everybody in Ganawagi was standing together against the band system. And Joe Norton, like the dirty little conniver that he was, is that he said to the people within the Warrior Society, says, don't you remember? Well, first he said to myself, my family, my father, my brother Keith, don't you remember what they did to your family? And then he said to them, to the other side, don't you remember what they done? Holy shit. Couldn't believe that, but of course we could believe it. You know, of course, that's the behavior that you would see from a mayor of the band system. So it just brought that to light as to that last night is the exact opposite of this. And like we said, we're able to come to conclusion. So the conclusion that we came to, if you've been with us, then you already seen it, but we're going to share it just for the sake of everybody here to know it. It's the document that was derived out of everybody's concerns, out of what everybody was identifying. And so, you got the document?
Angel, could you please habilitate the sharing on the screen?
Yes.
Now I'll go on.
Okay, so we're going to share the document. We'll read it, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, I'm going to go up to the TV to read it. Okay, so just keep in mind that this is applicable to not only here in Ganawagi, but to every reserve, to every native community, Turtle Island, North and South. Okay, so recent events within Ganawagi have made it extremely clear that the threats to our environment, health and welfare, economic stability, access to our treaty rights of the two-row wampum of hunting and fishing, border crossing, and freedom from taxation are all under threat by the Ganawagi ban system. The ban system has made illegal deals with the province of Quebec and private corporations affecting the health and welfare of Ganawagi-Rono. The ban system has lied to Ganawagi, claiming publicly that they have not signed any deal concerning the mega-contaminated landfill project with Salterra and JFK Enterprises, but recent documents obtained through the Access to Information Act reveals them as partners with Salterra and fully signed on to the mega project to contaminate the water, land, and air of Ganawagi, affecting our children's health far into the future. The ban system has also made a deal concerning the expansion of the 207, knowing fully well that the residents of the 207 and Ganawagi in general are completely against any further concessions to outside interests. At the most recent town meeting, all of Ganawagi in attendance said no to the deal and directed the ban system to rescind it. The ban system responded, "It's too late to reverse it. There would be consequences." However, they made this deal behind the backs of all Ganawagi. Therefore, any consequences are solely upon them. In the process of their illegal deals with the province, the ban system passed laws enabling corporations and organizations to buy private lands that are historically exclusively only just for Ganawagi to live upon. Dewadanizakta, KSCS, and other private corporations are illegally buying up Ganawagi lands to compete in the private business sector. Dewadanizakta has crossed the line of assisting businesses of Ganawagi to directly competing with them. This is illegal and exposes the land to taxation. Thereby, whatever deal the ban system made granting the right to corporations and organizations to own land completely undermines the people of Ganawagi and what our ancestors fought and died for to protect us from, and is to be reversed immediately. Through their illegal land grab, the ban system is attempting to illegally evict and or harass two Ganawagi from two different parcels of land. One, Allen Fishibova Seaway Road next to Glendella Roads, Road 132, stoplight at the entrance of the Mercier Bridge. Two, Jason Daibo into the 207 on the right, known as the West. Both of these Ganawagi have applied for the use of the lands for their private businesses and have been occupying the said lands for a number of years. The ban system is currently attempting to evict and or harass the two of them. However, in light of recent misrepresentations and breach of trust by the ban system, it is clear that Ganawagi needs to protect our lands from the corruption of the ban system itself. For non-native people, the ban system grants 99-year leases to use and pollute our lands in any way they want. But to our own, they give only 5-year leases to keep control over Ganawagi. There has been no violations upon the lands in question by either Allen Fishibova nor Jason Daibo, and are without cause to be evicted and or harassed. In the spirit of fairness for all Ganawagi, the people see that our lands must be defended from the ban system due to their breach of trust and mismanagement. The people will not allow the ban system's corporate law and ownership of Ganawagi lands to supersede the people's right to protect our future generations. The people will stand with Jason Daibo and Allen Fishibova and maintain their right to remain on the said lands free of harassment until such a time that there is legal reason to remove them. We call upon any and all Ganawagi who have similar grievances with the mismanagement of Ganawagi lands and or our collective rights to step forward and join us in this struggle. Okay, so this is a very powerful statement. It's a very powerful position. And it was pretty much agreed upon by everybody there, but just to be fair, we said that there's a period of if anybody wants to, if anyone disagrees with anything in there, if anybody can point out anything that's wrong, then you can send this to us. On the document, you see the address, the email, the phone number, and we'll take if anybody has anything to present on that, and if it is conducive to the statement, then we can make these adjustments, but you only have until Friday at noon. So this is 2 days from now. Friday at noon is the deadline. And then this document is the position of all the people who were present at this meeting. It's the position of anyone who would identify as a Kanien'kehá:ka land defender. And it is applicable not only here in Kahnawake, it is applicable throughout all of our sister communities from Grand River, Tyonda-Nega, Wata, Akwesasne, Ganassadage, throughout all of our communities and throughout all Native communities, north and south, that it's time for the people to take back the power of our lands, the power of determining things for our faces yet beneath the earth in the proper way, and to take it out of the ridiculousness, mismanagement, misuse, misconduct of the sellouts within the band systems, stateside tribal system. Yeah. So this is a call out to everybody, everywhere, to join us, to stand in this same action, that the elected band systems are British imposed genocide compliant system that is tier 2 to the first tier of the genocidal plan of the British church Nazi residential school concentration camps on Native children. This is the first tier, to process the children through there. And as you know, the objective was to kill the Indian and the child. So once they did this, their process, they're made in that production plant, they're built like a car on the production line. And when they come out, they're fed right into the band system to impersonate basically what has been killed out of them. And so the band systems are not a structure unto their own. They are a part of a genocidal process, and everybody knows this. Everybody. So who would be stupid enough to continue to participate in something that is, everybody knows, is a genocidal process? Who would be stupid enough to do that? Well, it's not a matter of stupidity in this case. It's a matter of reception, of imagining that an imposter would usurp the power of the thing or the person that they are impostoring. So this is an assertion. It's an attempted assertion that is going on by the band systems to imagine that they represent Native when they are not Native. They are not. Like here in Kahnawake, they are not Native. And so it's a position that has to be taken by everyone through all Native communities to push back, and even the people within the band systems themselves, that this would show good faith within the nations, to your own nation. It would show good faith if wherever you are, if you're here in Kahnawake and you're in the band system, you would show good faith to your nation to work to undo that corruption of the band system, to stand against it. Again, because of what it is. Okay, so this is what happened yesterday. I think I don't really have anything else more to report on it. Curry, Gazita Howie, I don't know if he's got anything more that you want to say on it. If you do, the floor is yours. If not, we're gonna move on from this issue.
Once this is finalized, nobody has anything to add or has any disagreements. Will this be delivered to the band system themselves, or
Oh,
be
well,
sent to electronically, or just post it to the community?
Yeah, however, like we said last night, whoever was present there, however they want to disseminate this into the community, into the people, share it whatever way. If somebody wants to print out a copy and stick it on the door of the band system, somebody wants to make copies and put it in everybody's mailbox. Whatever anybody wants to, the creativity level anybody wants to come up with, it's there, because it is the position, the official position of the people. So whatever way anybody can expose it into the community.
Okay. Pretty much
And-
all my final thoughts on that. Distributing the information.
And of course, what we gotta do also, we didn't think about this, but can't think of everything. We gotta make maybe a small sign of it, like maybe the size of a poster, and put it at Jason's place. It'll be a notification as to if and when the time comes on the 20th, if they show up like the way that they claim they're gonna, everybody identified that they're gonna be there on the 20th. We got a calling system to share with everybody that if there is anything, one person's gonna call the other, and like a chain reaction type of thing to get everybody there present. The people are not gonna allow the band system to railroad Ganawagirona from having access to our lands in a fair way, but is not gonna allow what the band system is doing in creating the industrialization and taxation. Just so that people are aware, they might say, how does this bring in taxation? How is Dewa Dani Zakta? How is the band system bringing in taxation? Well, the fact that Dewa Dani Zakta, KSCS, and corporations can own land, organizations can own land here in Ganawagi. This means that there has been some type of legal change to the status of the land. Because, hey, just 20 years ago, a corporation could not own land in Ganawagi. An organization couldn't own land. But when corporations such as Dewadani Zakta, KSCS, can buy up lands, these organizations as corporations applying to non-native rules, non-native laws, they are viewed as being non-native, not as being native. Even if all the board, all the members are made up of natives completely, they are viewed as being non-native and are therefore taxable. So the moment that whatever the band system done to grant a corporation the ability to buy land here in Ganawagi, that exposes that land to taxation. Because any corporation subjected to say rules of like if they went bankrupt or something. And if you went bankrupt, well then who's your creditor? And can your creditor seize your assets here in Ganawagi? No, they can't. They can't seize the land. Oh, but wait a minute. If you're taxable because of the law that the band system made, then they can seize your land. So it's just a matter of that the people think that they're not taxable, but they're taxable because of the corporate law that the band system has brought in. So what's happening here is last night we talked about this pimple that needs to be forced. It's like it's there, it's under the surface, it's a pain in the ass, it's bugging everybody. We gotta force that, we gotta bust that pimple. And what that pimple is what the band system has done under the noses of everybody, without anybody knowing. They had to have changed some law, whatever it is, some protocol. Now, we don't know what it is, but we're gonna force it out of the band system to what law that they had to change or apply to or create or agreement they had to make with the province to enable corporations to be able to own land here in Ganawagi. That's the corruption of the band system. This is something that what is leaving Ganawagi in a housing crisis. And think of this, in a town mismanaged by the ban system, where you got people stealing millions of dollars from the housing department, mismanaging the housing department, that now they just, as everybody probably knows, that they've just created this new protocol or something, created this new thing where now anybody in Ganawagi can get a loan, a mortgage on their house. Think of this, it's a mortgage, what they said. You could get a mortgage for $400,000. What's your collateral in a mortgage?
The house.
Your house is. That's what the purpose of a bank lending you money on a mortgage, so that they can basically get your house, because mortgages is a business. They're in the business of getting what the people mortgage. They're in the business of getting those homes and then reselling them. So here in Ganawagi, you think it's a good thing. Hey, we can now get a loan for $400,000. How are you going to pay that when the ban system is actually eliminating the industry that has made everybody rich here in Ganawagi, and the ban system illegally putting taxation on that industry of $100 a case, and the ban system stating that it's actually the KTA that asked the ban system to come in to tax them this $100 a case. How much of an idiot do you have to believe to believe that? This is how much of outright bald-faced liars the ban system is. Everybody in the ban system. It's because they're all lying to create what creates the atmosphere of taxation, municipalization. They're all part and parcel of it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, that's it. We wanted to discuss something else. What did we want to discuss?
The document of your Tekuli, that's what you had said.
Okay, we got a document that we gotta look at. I'm not gonna talk about it, we're just gonna share it, and this way people will know. Edith, can you set it up as to what,
Yeah, it's gonna go as a go from the reconstitution process that we have been doing for a few years now. There is a very active participant whose name is Yelotecutli. You might have seen him in the reconstitutions. So he sent a document that he wanted to present to everybody as to what he thought that he could do to support Ganawage in the struggle that they are facing right now. Because basically, he went into Okanagan territory in out west. So Okanagan, how do you say that place where he went to out west in British Columbia?
Okanagan.
Yeah. So he has been in touch with peoples here up north, maybe not from the east, but from the west. So he's kind of like, aware of the challenges that every regional people has in the continent. So he really understands the importance of allying south, north, and central part of the continent. So he just sent that yesterday, knowing that Ganawage was having these challenges and these meetings. So
Yeah. What's important to take note of here is that across Turtle Island, north and south, all original peoples who still are hanging on to original instruction, who are still within the 13 cyclical ceremonies of Mother Earth, Grandma Moon, eldest brother, the sun, that are still breathing that original instruction. All these people are all working on right now on law, on constitution, on each one's individual interpretation or application of great law of peace. So this is happening from north to south right now. It's just that most people aren't aware of it. Like if you're here in Ganawagi, guaranteed you're not going to be aware of it, because the majority of Ganawagi is not like that. The majority of Ganawagi is like too busy with something else. So here we're working on this. Just as recent as about a month ago, we were sitting in a conference organized out of the United Nations with a group of people who were present at the United Nations to put forward a peace resolution, something like that, to talk about
A charter of
a
peace.
charter of peace. And actually, they're talking about adopting the Great Law of Peace. So this is groups of people from around the world, around Mother Earth, all different nationalities, all different backgrounds, and basically what the sentiment is that there's an acknowledgement of male dominance, nonstop wars, you know, all this craziness, and there's an acknowledgement of matrilineal and peace. People who didn't have these concepts before of peace in their minds, all of a sudden they got the concept of peace, but it's identified, associated with matrilineal. So, anyways, this is what we're doing, and it's not just on that level. It's as if you've been with us, you know that we're the only ones who have maintained the 5-year cyclical recitals of the Great Law of Peace. Nobody else has maintained those. Nobody else. You know, it's a crazy thing to think of when throughout the 5 nations, Longhouse Confederacy, that absolutely everybody, every nation, every community, every 5 years minimum used to have law recitals. Now just think of this, if it's in each of the nation, you might think, well, all of the nations would come together for one grand law recital. Doesn't happen that often. No, every 5 years, it's within your nation. Every 5 years. Every 5 years, it's within your clan, it's within your house. And then from those people who are so united, then it's every 5 years within a grand council setting, within that way. And that was designed for the nations to, after, let's say, the first year that everybody was fighting like this, and then it stops. After 5 years, you come back to review, to refresh your commitment. Hey, is your mind still of the great peace? Yeah, well, what is it? It's this. Is it this? Yeah, it was this. Yeah, this is what was said. This is what was agreed upon. Yeah, this is the law. Yeah. So it becomes that every 5 years is like a state of the nation type of thing. Okay, so anyways, let's get into it then. How long is it, do you know?
3 pages, I think.
How many pages?
3?
Oh, okay. I thought you said 20 pages.
No, actually 4.
Okay, I'm gonna go up and read. Okay, Continental Declaration for the Defense of Ganawage and the Living Earth, issued by the people of the Americas and the world. When a people defends its land, it defends the very heart of the earth. The time to choose has arrived. There are moments in history when silence becomes complicity. We are living in one of those moments. From Ganawage and Mohawk territory south of Montreal to the Andean glaciers, from the Amazon to the Arctic, the same story repeats with different names. Indigenous peoples defending what remains of a living world against governments and corporations that continue to treat the earth as a commodity. But Ganawage is not merely a local dispute. It is a mirror of our collective condition, the reflection of how far we have drifted from the balance that sustains life. The story of Ganawage, your story, our story. On the banks of the St. Lawrence River, the Mohawk people of Ganawage have resisted for centuries. In 1987, the women of the 207 Longhouse stood before trucks carrying toxic waste into their land with their bodies. They stopped the machines with their courage. They said, "This far and no further." Almost 4 decades later, those same women, now daughters, their granddaughters, are once again defending their territory. The threat now wears a different mask. It arrives through contracts signed behind closed doors, through agreements that claim to follow the law but betray its spirit. It hides behind colonial structures. The ban systems imposed by the Canadian state to replace the traditional governance, I'll take out Haudenosaunee, that has guided this nation for centuries. This is more than a legal dispute. It is a conflict of soul and worldview. One vision sees the earth as property to be divided, bought, and sold. The other sees it as family, rivers as brothers, mountains as grandmothers, forests as living relatives. You do not sell your mother, you protect her. When decisions are taken without the consent of the longhouses, clan mothers, and councils under the great law of peace, they may be legal on paper, but they remain acts of dispossession, the continuation of colonialism under a bureaucratic disguise. Why it matters to everyone. If you think this has nothing to do with you, think again. Every poisoned river reaches the ocean we all share. Every felled forest steals the air we breathe. Every displaced people silences an ancient knowledge about how to live with the earth. Indigenous peoples represent only 5% of the world's population, yet they protect over 80% of its biodiversity, not through power or wealth, but through memory. The memory that you cannot kill your home without killing yourself. When Ganawagi resists industrial expansion, it defends more than Mohawk sovereignty. It defends the sacred truth that there are limits to what we can take, and that beyond those limits, all life begins to fade. The law is on the side of the earth. Few realize that under both Canadian and international law, the Mohawk position stands on firm ground. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, UNDRIP, ratified by Canada and integrated into national law in 2021, clearly affirms that no project may proceed on Indigenous lands without free, prior, and informed consent obtained through their own representative institutions. That distinction is vital. It must come from their own governance systems, not from administrative bodies imposed by colonial policy. Canadian jurisprudence through the Delgamucco 1997 and Chilcotin 2014 rulings recognizes that Indigenous title is constitutionally protected. The Crown has a duty to consult and accommodate and protect and projects require genuine consent. The Inter-American Human Rights Court, in cases such as Awastigny, Nicaragua, 2001, and Saramacca, Suriname, 2007, has confirmed that ancestral possession constitutes ownership and that no development can proceed without culturally appropriate consultation. And yet the distance between law and practice remains vast. Governments often claim to have consulted while bypassing traditional governance entirely, relying on the colonial ban systems as if their signatures equated to true consent. But they do not. True consent is not granted by institutions created to replace Indigenous law. It arises from the collective will of the people who have inhabited and protected those lands since time immemorial. The rights of the earth. Around the world, a new understanding is taking root. The earth herself possesses rights. Ecuador enshrined this in its 2008 constitution, naming Pachamama as a subject of rights. Bolivia followed in 2010, adopting the law of Mother Earth. New Zealand recognized the Wangwani River as a legal person in 2017. Colombia did the same for the Amazon, and in 2021, Quebec granted legal personhood to the Magpie River, the first in Canada. These are not metaphors. They are binding legal instruments that allow ecosystems to defend themselves through human guardians. Yet this principle is not new. It is indigenous. For millennia, our peoples have known that every being from the smallest seed to the vastest ocean carries its own dignity. As the Haudenosaunee remind us, as the Ganawagi remind us, before making any decision, consider its effects on the next 7 generations. Its state If states and corporations were to live by that law, the cycle of destruction would end tomorrow. The call. This is the moment to decide which side of history we will stand on. To the indigenous nations of the North and South, from Turtle Island to Abya, your struggles are the same. When one people defends its lands, all peoples grow stronger. To our indigenous allies, listen more than you speak. Follow indigenous leadership. Use your privilege as a shield, not as a crown. Amplified voices, support legal defenses, and speak truth to power. To scholars, lawyers, artists, workers, and spiritual leaders, each of you holds a tool that can serve life or serve capital. Choose life. And to governments, you have treaties unfulfilled, laws unenforced, and obligations ignored. Ecocide, the destruction of ecosystems that sustains life, must be recognized as an international crime. Respect indigenous consent, honor your treaties, or step aside while the peoples of the earth restore balance. The path forward. We are not merely declaring, we are acting. This declaration will be presented to the United Nations, supported by a network of institutions, legal experts, and community defenders. A legal defense fund will be created to support indigenous nations facing violations of consent and environmental devastation. A continental Congress will be convened to lay the foundations of a World Council for the Rights of the Earth, anchored in the Global South and guided by indigenous wisdom. This is not idealism, it is survival. The invitation. We invite the peoples of the world to stand with Ganawagi, not because they are flawless, but because their struggle illuminates a truth we all need to remember. The earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth. Resistance is an act of love, and another world is not only possible, it is necessary. Together, we are stronger than any corporation, more enduring than any empire, and more powerful than any system that worships capital above life. A final word. When your grandchildren ask, if there are grandchildren to ask, what did you do when there was still time? What will you answer? That you were busy? That you didn't know? Or that you stood with those who defended life itself? The time to choose is now. Silence is complicity. Inaction is surrender. Neutrality is no longer possible. Issued collectively by the peoples of the earth in accordance with the great law of peace and the universal principles of justice, equity, and reciprocity that bind all nations and beings. May this declaration serve as both testimony and commitment before the conscience of humanity. November 11th, 2025. Wow. So that's our good friend, Telotle Kutle, I hope I said his name right, that wrote this to because he was inspired by what is happening in Ganawagi, the actions that the land defenders are taking to rise to protect and defend the land. Now this guy lives like about 3,000 miles away from us. He's so many nations removed from us, how many nations in between us? But yet he's inspired by Ganawagi. He's inspired by what is taking place here, the possibility of what could take place. He's not inspired by the corruption that's here. He's inspired by how the people are rising to address that corruption. And this speaks direct to the Ganyangahaga land defenders, because without the Ganyangahaga land defenders, this man who wrote this document in support of Ganawagi wouldn't be there. He would not have wrote this without the inspiration from the Ganyangahaga land defenders and everything that they have been standing for, everything that they've been pushing, everything that they are not allowing to get by. That a foot has been put down now. A line has been drawn. And here in Ganawagi now, it's forcing people like myself to take action, to come out of the woodwork of Ganawagi and to come directly to the land and to protect that land from what is specifically destroying it. So this is really quite a inspiration to me to know that Ganawage's struggles is inspiring other people in such a way that they write, that they're compelled to write like a declaration such as this. Something that to some people it may be just words, that's all really it is. It's just a document that he wrote. But this is something that inspires people to take action. So it's not just a document, it's a sentiment. It's a position of law. It's something that demands movement on. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to post it on our page, and he wants us to look at it and to like help to refine it, take off any of the rough edges or whatever. And then we're going to send it back to him, because it is part and parcel, like we said, of this communication that we're doing about rising great law of peace to the levels of international levels within the United Nations. So Curry, I don't know if you and Gatita Howie are still there, but just from what you heard from this, seeing how he's inspired by what's transpiring here in Ganawagi from the land defenders. How do you feel about that? Anything you want to say about that?
Well, we always talk about the ripple effect. Like you spoke of last night, Nawag is initiated, always initiating. We're the ones that, about the great peace. We're the ones that are going to be. Unfortunately, we're the ones that probably started the contamination at one time. I mean, not the true people, but the people. So, it's a life cycle. Everything comes full circle, and it's time for change. And it's gonna start here.
Yeah, but when you think about it, in the truest sense, as much as the Ganyangahaga are the impetus to the great law of peace, it's only because we're the impetus to war in the first place. So
Yeah.
this is something about the Ganyangahaga, and in particular the Ganyangahaga of Ganawagi, that it's like maybe in times of where everything is lax, like as if we can go into corruption and expand it to its limits and be the best worst that we can be until a certain line is crossed. And then when that line is crossed, it's recognized from within us. And then from within us, we struggle against ourselves or struggle to correct ourselves within ourselves. And when you think of this, I know that nobody else could confront Ganyangahaga to have that level of evolution. Because I know that Ganyangahaga ain't going to listen to nobody else. I know it. I ain't going to listen to nobody else. I ain't going to listen to any of the other nations. I ain't going to listen to anyone else who hasn't done or isn't being or doing what we are. So why would we listen? But when we are in the same instance, this negative that's pushing the envelope, and in the same instance, the positive that can address it, then we're not like everybody else. We're not existing on the same levels. Yes, Ganyangahaga have a very specific, important role within all of creation. And this is where you find us here in Ganawagi. This is for everyone to know that this is everybody knows it's the eastern door, but we are the people protecting the doorway, the valve from the main artery of the heart. So when you think of this terminology that I know there's a lot of mix up in it, like this terminology of Iroquois. People say Iroquois, and I've heard this all my life too, that Iroquois. Well, the Dutch came up with that, and that's what they call us. So they call us Mohawk. And the Mohawks, that's what's supposed to mean a pit of snakes. But the Iroquois, people think that it's French, that it's like it's influenced in by the French language. When think of this, if there are any speakers watching this right now, what is Iroquois? What is that? Because just think of any of our words, like if we say Ganigurio. Okay, a non-native person who doesn't know the language, are they going to say Ganigurio? Probably going to go googity googity, googity gaboo, whatever. As you know, that there's the mix-up when your mind is thinking another language and they try to repeat native. So this is where there's a mix-up here with Iroquois and people thinking that it's French. Iroquois. What is Iroquois? Anybody? Here it's limited, I know. There's only two people with us, and then here a couple of people within the room. None of us are really experts or speakers of the language,
I
but
know it would have something to do with where the sun rises.
well, what is Yorakwase? See, Yorakwase, this is a direct reference to Grandma Moon. It's the new moon phase of Grandma Moon, because the full moon is oh man, what is it? It's at the tip of my tongue. Oh, what the heck is it? Yagonsayerdi. So the full moon phase, Yagonsayerdi. The new moon phase, Yorakwase. This is a direct reference to the moon. And this is direct reference to who we are here in Ganawage. We are in the body of in the human body, we are the lunar valve that opens to the main artery. This is what the non-natives call it anyways. It's they call it a lunar valve because it's shaped like that, like a half moon. Open up like that. So this is what Ganawagi is. This is what the Ganyagahaga are. This is what the what we've always been here in Ganawagi, what we represent. People think we're on a river. It's a river, so you're thinking river and that. But when you're thinking of the body and you're thinking blood vessels and arteries as to what the lakes and rivers and oceans are, then the big river that comes from the 5 Great Lakes, this is the heart pumping out into the main artery, which is who we are. We are the sentinels of the main artery. So this is where you'll find hidden in our language, hidden in a terminology that a lot of people don't like today, of Iroquois, where you will find a deeper meaning in our identity. And then you can see the reason why that the influence in that the Iroquois is influenced by the French to get you to think, it's French. Doesn't mean nothing. Iroquois? Where would they come up with that? To call us Iroquois? When you think of our word, Yorakwase, they'd say Iroquois. Iroquois, Iroquois. Now you think of things like there's so many examples of that, like the Ohio River. What is that? Where would they get this terminology of Ohio River? Is it a name that they brought from across the oceans with them? How did anybody get exposed to the Ohio River? Because when you think of the 13 colonies where they weren't exposed to the Ohio River. The only way they got exposed to the Ohio River is once they came into contact with the Ganyangahaga. And it's the Ganyangahaga that took them down our pathway to our winter, where we would winter. And this is where the French of so-called Quebec get their wintering in Florida from. They get it from us. How did they get there? On the Ohio River. What's the Ohio River? For us going to the south, that's the good path, because in the winter we're avoiding all the bad stuff, all the bad weather and that. So the Ohio River, where they get that from, is the Yohahio, because it's the good path, Yohahio. It's what takes us to the south. And this is how the French got there into what they call Barataria, which got affected into which crossed the lines that ended up getting the Tuscarora here within the Five Nations because of our interactions with the South, with us always traveling there, wintering, and then when the French came, the French were the most like us. They're the most the ones that would escape. They were the most able to blend in with us. Much different than the French. Yeah. So, anyways, things like this, but just to know that influences go a long ways from Ganawagi in ways that people don't even know. We are influencing people around the world constantly, just through this effort that our One House is doing. You think of whatever other people are doing in Ganawagi that we don't know of, they're influencing other peoples around the world, as are we. So altogether, Ganawagi is putting quite a footprint of influence throughout the world. So much so that this man writes this document to basically honor Ganawagi and to honor how he's been affected by Ganawagi, because he's been affected by it. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to share that on our page, and I think we're going to discuss it or address it at the next reconstitution, because he'll be present and we'll be able to then go over it. So if anybody has anything that, if you're going to read this document, and if you have anything that you think you should be adjusted, something taken out, something added, this, whatever, send it to us, post it, put a comment there, and we'll see how everything can be all filtered into one collective statement. So we can see something, a larger voice coming, representing all nations, representing all people. So it's a good thing, very good. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to go over this right now. I think we're going to leave it there for tonight. The next reconstitution, where we're going to bring this up, it's not this weekend, right? It's next weekend.
Yeah.
So next Sunday, not this coming Sunday. So if anybody wants to adjust it, you've got a week and a half, roughly. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that anybody's got? Anybody who had anything to adjust? Anything to remind us about or anything? If not, we're gonna close up. Okay. Oh boy, I'm enjoying. Looks like we're gonna close up. Okay, we're gonna sing a song. Sing a song. Okay, let me get ready here. Yeah, so once again, Nyawagoa to all the life givers who cook, who nourish, who give us nourishment, who inspire, who direct us, who take the time to slap us upside the head and say, smarten up, you dumbass, and do this. And all the ones who take the time to speak to us out of love and concern, at different times when it's necessary to have that smack, when it's just necessary to have that nice little soft spoken voice, but regardless, to acknowledge how much the life givers influence me. Yeah. I'll acknowledge that and give thanks for that. Okay, so about singing. Oh, I need my water.